John Heinrich Detlef Rabe was a German businessman and Nazi Party member best known for his efforts to stop war crimes during the Japanese Nanjing massacre, also romanized as Nanking, and is working to protect and help Chinese civilians during the massacre that ensued. The Nanking Safety Zone, which he helped to establish, sheltered approximately 250,000 Chinese people from being killed. He officially represented Germany and acted as senior chief of the European US establishment that remained in Nanjing, the Chinese capital at the time when the city fell to the Japanese troops. Rabe was born in Hamburg on 23rd November 1882. He pursued a career in business and worked in Africa for several years. Many Westerners were living in Nanjing, the Chinese capital city, until December 1937, with some conducting trade and others on missionary trips. As the Imperial Japanese Army approached Nanjing and initiated bombing raids on the city, all but 22 foreigners fled, with 15 American and European missionaries and businessmen forming part of the remaining group. As the Japanese Army advanced on Nanjing on 22nd November 1937, Rabe, along with other foreign nationals, organized the International Committee for the Nanking Safety Zone and created the Nanking Safety Zone to provide Chinese refugees with food and shelter from the impending Japanese massacre. He explained his reason as, "There is a question of morality here. I cannot bring myself for now to betray the trust these people have put in me, and it is touching to see how they believe in me." The zones were located in all of the foreign embassies and at Nanjing University. According to Rabe, the Nanjing massacre resulted in the deaths of 50,000 to 60,000 civilians. Rabe and his zone administrators tried frantically to stop the atrocities. Modern estimates of the death toll of the Nanjing massacre vary, but some put the number of murdered civilians as high as 300,000 people. Rabe's appeals to the Japanese using his Nazi Party credentials often only delayed them, but the delay allowed hundreds of thousands of refugees to escape. The documentary Nanking credited Rabe with saving the lives of 250,000 Chinese civilians. Other sources suggest he saved 250,000 to 300,000. In his diary, Rabe documented Japanese atrocities committed during the assault on and occupation of the city. On 20th February 1938, Rabe left Nanjing. He traveled first to Shanghai, returning to Berlin on 15th April 1938. He took with him a large number of source materials documenting Japanese atrocities in Nanjing. Rabe showed films and photographs of Japanese atrocities in lecture presentations in Berlin, and he wrote to Hitler asking him to use his influence to persuade the Japanese to stop further violence. Rabe was detained and interrogated by the Gestapo. His letter was never delivered to Hitler. Due to the intervention of Siemens AG, Rabe was released. He was allowed to keep evidence of the massacre, excluding films, but not to lecture or write on the subject again. Rabe continued working for Siemens, which briefly posted him to the safety of Siemens AG in Afghanistan. Rabe subsequently worked in the company's Berlin headquarters until the end of the war. After the war, Rabe was arrested first by the Soviet NKVD, then by the British Army. Both let him go after intense interrogation. He worked sporadically for Siemens, earning little. He was later denounced by an acquaintance for his Nazi Party membership, losing the work permit he had been given by the British zone of occupation. Rabe then had to undergo lengthy denazification. His first attempt was rejected and he had to appeal in the hope of regaining permission to work. He depleted his savings to pay for his legal defense. On 5th January 1950, Rabe died of stroke. In 1997, his tombstone was moved from Berlin to Nanjing, where it received a place of honor at the massacre memorial site and still stands today. In 2005, Rabe's former residence in Nanjing, the John Rabe House, was restored to its former state. It houses the John Rabe and International Safety Zone Memorial Hall, opened in 2006. The Austrian service abroad was later invited to send a peace servant there. Rabe's grave in Kaiser Wilhelm Memorial Cemetery in Berlin-Charlottenburg was re-erected in 2013. A selection of Rabe's wartime diaries was published in English as The Good German of Nanking UK title or The Good Man of Nanking, the US title. Original German title is Du Gete Duce von Nanking.